Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Plant Amateur. I'm Tara Gaines. In today's episode, we're gonna be potting up these two Alocasia Metalheads together because I'm having difficulty keeping track of both of them. Now they both exist in pond, and I do also think that they exist without drainage. So I'll be changing that today. I don't like what's happening at the bottom here because pond is pretty dusty like, and even though I rinsed it out, it still looks like that. So I don't think the plant is very happy about that situation. So again, we're gonna put them together with some drainage and it'll be easier for me and happier for the plants. Let's do it. Okay, team, here we go. I'm just going to take these two guys and I'm going to bring them out of their little pot. Here's their name tag, Mercury. I'm just gonna make sure that this is pretty dry before I dump it out. I wanted to make sure they were pretty dried out before I repotted them anyway, just because it'll be a little easier to handle. So I am trying to be pretty gentle with this as it is stone and rock and whatnot. Look at that. Ew, gross. See, unhappy plant. Unhappy or no, look at all of these roots. Happy a little, but in the process of transitioning all of my alocasias into pond just because they like it. I mean, they really like it. I do have a few left in dirt, and so when I repot them this year for the spring, I'm totally transferring everything over. All right, number two, here we go. Lots of pond and leca. Boop, boop. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yeah, see, ew, yucky. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a much better, this was a good choice for these guys. Good choice. So I'm kind of excited to notice that there are no corms in here. My Alocasia aslanii, I think it's called the red jewel or the red, no, that's the Cuprea's, the red secret. My aslanii, I'm just gonna go with that. My aslanii at this size had so many corms, I'm convinced that it wants to die. These guys do not, and that makes me so happy. So I'm potting these up together, and so I'm gonna take another 24 ounce cup. It's the same size as this one, and now that I see their root balls, I'm kind of thinking this was a bad choice. So I'm going to be right back. Okay. So I found the thing that is gonna be the solution, and that is a 1 gallon pot. The problem I do have with this choice is that currently these plants live in my cabinet. So because this pot is gonna be so big, they're gonna have to be acclimated out of it. That's just what happens, I guess, when your plants get too big for the cabinet, right? I'm kind of glad that I'm doing this now instead of later because summer is coming. It's March now in 2024. So I'm excited that they will have an opportunity to get nice and strong during this summer. And then, you know, when going into winter, they'll have a better footing. So I'm just gonna fill this entire base full of leca, because there are some pretty large holes here at the bottom. So I'm just gonna fill it up with some large leca to hopefully prevent these little bad boys, all of the stone anyway, from leaking out. As you know, pond is a mixture of different rocks. Mostly they offer aeration and oxygen into the soil. So you do have to fertilize with liquid fertilizer on the regular. I'm gonna mix this up a little bit. I'm just gonna continue to fill the pot. So let's see, this is gonna be so heavy too. Good thing I'm strong, I can do it. So that should be deep enough. Let's just see. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so I gotta space these guys out just right. I wanna take this chopped leaf off because it will just rot in there anyway. So I'm just gonna peel it back. Hopefully the plant doesn't get too mad at me. I'm just gonna take the leca and I'm gonna start feeding in and around. And then I'm gonna lower the guys, lower the Mercuries, the Metalheads. I'm gonna lower the Metalheads into the box. And I will end up needing some more. I thought it was gonna be, or how much I needed to fill this up. I thought maybe the 2 24 ounces would work, but it makes sense that they're not going to, because 2 24 ounces is only 48 ounces, and a gallon, as you might know, is 128 ounces. Just a little reference back to my bodybuilding days. I think I'm filling these up too high, but it's okay. Once we get the weight on them, they'll settle down a little bit. So put some leca in there, keep it off the wall. I want them to be separated so they still have their space. Oh, see how high that one's getting? Shoot. We gotta do it again. Start a little lower, and I still have to find all this leca again and put it in. So I'm not too familiar with these two plants. I literally just bought them because they were Alocasia Metalheads. I just thought it was super cute, but they're very beautiful plants. But they also have the stripy stem like the Sabrina or the Jacqueline, and they have very contrasty leaves. I have a feeling what they look like now is not gonna be what they look like when they're older. You know, as plants mature, oftentimes their leaves structure will change. I don't think their leaf structure will change so much, but I do think the depth and detail will be a little bit different over time. They're just so cute, and so I'm in love with them. That's why I'm keeping them. That's why I'm trying to take good care of them. Doing all the things. We're going back in. Big chunk of leca and pond, just dumping it in there. Trying to get them to set up so I can be a little bit more hands off with them. It looks like they might sit pretty low this time. It's okay, we can do that. We don't mind low. I do want their roots to be good and spread out though. I don't want them to be fighting over the space. That's why I picked such a big container. I mean, they look like they're so small in here. But I promise, give like a year's time and they won't be so small anymore. It's important when you're picking out plants and getting new plants that you remember that sometimes what you're picking are trees and they're not gonna be small forever. I mean, you could bonsai, you know, and keep them small, which might be not a bad idea for some of my alocasias. But I just love it when they get so big. They're just so gorgeous. When they just get all rockin'ly huge, it's just like, wow, you're beautiful. All potted up. I'll probably take these leca balls off the top. I hate leca balls on the top. I always just think it looks stupid and they're not holding any water on the top. 2 Alocasia Metalheads potted up together. This will help me save some space. It'll help me take care of these guys better. The size of the pot will just let them get huge. So the Alocasia Metalhead, I do believe, is a cross between 2 Alocasias. I couldn't tell you what those 2 Alocasias were off the top of my head, and I generally don't prepare for these videos, so I'm sorry. But you can see the contrasting veination, the dark midrib and the lighter green foliage, but it's almost purple. The veination is almost purple. So purple. It's just beautiful. And then, of course, the stems are very much like the Alocasia, Sabrina, Alocasia, Jacqueline. They have that same kind of tiger striping. And look at, a new leaf is coming. Yay, yay, yay. All right, so it's time to get this guy watered up and into his pot. I got him a cute little cash pot. I'm gonna water him in and I'm gonna get him on his little spot in the cabinet to start his acclimation process tomorrow. He has to be acclimated out. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a fun time with me. If you have any feedback, please feel free to let me know, right? I like trying to improve these videos. But other than that, I hope you have a good day, and I would like it very much if you enjoyed yourself.